Hey, I'm Jeff with AvidMax, and today we've got the TFO Lefty Kreh Professional Series 2. These are a great fly rod, and one of the things that they've tried to do with them a little bit is make sure that they are an affordable fly rod that isn't going to compromise too much on really any of the essentials. So even though it's going to be a little bit cheaper fly rod, great for kind of an entry-level rod, or one of the things it's also designed for is a backup rod. So if it's one of those days where you're out there fishing, and I know I've done this, you're out there playing around a little bit and you break the tip off of your rod and you don't have anything else out there. It's nice to be able to say that you've got a backup that's even if it's not with you, it's in the truck, something like this. And one of the great things about having this rod as a backup is maybe that first time that you do need to use it as a backup, you then figure out, hey, this is an awesome rod, and it ends up sticking with you a lot longer than you thought you would. So we'll try to give you a little bit of a look at the action there. Not sure if you can see that. It'd probably be considered somewhere between a medium fast rod. Of course, TFO has kind of gone away from rating their rods that way, and for good reason. So we'll get to in a minute some of the other ways that they rate them. But we wanted to show you a little bit about this rod. It's got really nice cork handle on it, feels good in the hands, and then down here at the bottom they've got a really nice anodized reel seat here that then, as you can kind of see, it has a braided carbon fiber kind of exterior to it there, which is going to keep down a little bit on the weight. It's going to make it a little bit more durable, and really it's just going to look pretty nice as well there. Then it's also got two little rings here as a locking reel seat there for you. And this rod comes in quite a few different configurations. So you'll notice that the one that we have here is a little bit smaller. This is a 4-weight, and so it doesn't have a fighting butt on it at all. But as you get up into some of the higher weights, these will have the fighting butts on them. And it's pretty great how many different models they come with. So I think right now they are up to 19 different models of this fly rod. So you can get it anywhere from a 2-weight all the way up to a 10-weight, so you just got to kind of know the type of fishing that you're going to do, where you're going to be at, what fish you're going for, what the water looks like a little bit. They've got a couple of different sizes of this rod as well, all the way as short as 7.5 feet, all the way up to 10 feet. So really, you're going to be able to kind of customize this rod a little bit to make sure that exactly what you need is what you get in terms of the weight and the size and all that. Most all of these are going to be a 4-piece rod, although I think there's a couple of the shorter ones that only come in a 3-piece as well. They're also all going to have a nice sock that goes with it, just to give you somewhere to throw the rod at the end of the day so that it's not getting nicked or scratched, anything like that. We told you at the beginning of the day that this was a little bit of a medium fast action rod, but that TFO didn't really use those ratings anymore. And instead what they've done is they've gone with something called their rod performance matrix, which they rate their rods in 3 different ways. So they're going to rate them for the presentation, how softly can you put that fly down, how can you put it exactly where you want it to be. Then they've also gone with distance, which is pretty obvious, just how far out there you're going to get it. And then they've also rated it with lift. How easily are you going to be able to drag that fish back into shore, or if you're standing out there in the river, back in to where you are. Now this rod is going to score pretty well in a couple of the categories, and then not as well in one of them. But that shouldn't dissuade you from the rod at all, because obviously you're not going to need the same thing in every rod. So this rod here is really weak in the lifting category. It's only going to score a 2 in that. But of course, the fish that you're going to be going for in this, it's saltwater or freshwater friendly, but you're not going to be out there, especially in the saltwater, going for some of these really big fish. This is going to be a little bit more of a rod designed for some of those smaller fish. That's why it only goes up to a 10-weight, not some of the really big weights that you would really need a lot of lifting power on it. It's also able to split the middle really well between the presentation and the distance. Sometimes that's a hard thing to do. If you're able to sling that fly out there quite a ways, then you're not going to be able to set it down real nicely. and vice versa. If you've got a rod that's able to give you a really good presentation, really good loops there in your cast, make sure that fly's hitting first and real soft, that you can't get it out there as far. But this rod kind of splits the difference between those two well. They're going to rate it a 5 out of 10 on each of those two, which really just means it's a really great mix. So you're not going to get a rod here that is going to set the fly down really nicely, but you can't get it out very far, and at the same time you're not getting a rod that is able to throw a fly all the way across the river there, and when it slaps down, you're getting the line and the fly and everything that's hitting kind of in one big clump that's spooking the fish away for you there. So it really is kind of a great all-around fly rod. It's going to be a little bit more entry level, and so that's one of the reasons it makes for a great backup rod. You're going to be able to take it anywhere with you and know that if you have to pull this one out, whatever you're asking it to do, it's going to be able to do for you pretty well. If you liked our video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, as well as add any comments or suggestions down below. For more fly fishing and outdoor related videos, subscribe to our AvidMax YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you out there.